So I am here with Vanessa Hill and Dr. Ryan Robinson. We are here to talk about Vanessa's new show on YouTube. It's a YouTube original called Sleeping with Friends. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kyle. I appreciate it.
Of course. So Vanessa, first of all, so I did watch, but
Oh, amazing.
tell us about the show if they haven't yet seen it.
Yeah, sure. So Sleeping with Friends is a reality show. Everyone's familiar with the good old reality competition series, but this one is actually about science and technology. So we get a group of contestants together, we bring them into a house for a week, and we do a big experiment basically where we have them all compete to improve their sleep. So we give them pretty cutting edge sleep technology and some behavioral tips and techniques that they can use to try to improve their sleep. So it's very fun. It just started streaming today. It's 3 episodes. It's only an hour and a half in total, so very easy binge for everyone. And sleep is something that touches all of us. So I really want the series to be helpful as well as entertaining for people.
Yeah, I really love, as I've been experiencing going through this myself, particularly lately and trying to get a hold of it, it's something that has affected me my entire life. And people don't really realize, well, except the two of you and people, they don't really realize how much sleep affects every single part of your day, even, to basic functions of the body. What was the biggest thing for you in regards to surprises that came up for Sleeping with Friends?
Yeah, I suppose just in the research process in terms of like getting into what sleep does and why we sleep and the benefits of it, it's pretty intuitive for everyone to know that sleep is good for your day-to-day health. Like if you're super hungover, you don't sleep, you're jet lagged, you feel like crap. So that's something that we all know. But I guess like looking into a lot of the science and the research that's out there, it's amazing how much sleep is preventative medicine for diseases and illnesses later in life, right? Like if you're not sleeping well now, you're at a far higher risk for diabetes, for heart disease, for obesity, these kinds of things that can really affect us when we're older. So it was just so interesting to me to see that link between sleeping now and those conditions and then diseases of aging like Alzheimer's disease. And it's kind of funny in research, it's a bit of a unclear relationship. Like, do people get Alzheimer's disease because they sleep badly, or do they sleep badly because they're predisposed to have that in the first place because of their genetics or something else, right? So that was the very interesting thing to me, is how sleep is this like superpower because it helps us so much day to day, but then it's so important for us down the track as well.
And one thing that I thought was extremely interesting, watching Sleeping with Friends, was each contestant, which of course are YouTubers, each contestant had their own sleeping patterns, their own sleeping problems. It was kind of eye-opening to me, because me as somebody who has sleep problems, I'm like, oh, everybody who has sleep problems, they're exactly like mine. But that clearly is not the case.
Yeah, and I will say that the contestants we have, none of them were struggling from a medical condition where they were going and getting treatment from it. The sleep challenges that our contestants had were pretty common in a normal, like a general healthy population. So some of our contestants couldn't fall asleep due to stress and anxiety. Some of our contestants were just drinking way too much water before bed, and they were getting up like 6 times during the night to use the bathroom, and it was disrupting their sleep. Other contestants just really felt the pressure of work, and they're self-employed and creatives, and they would work late into the night and pull all-nighters rather than actually getting some sleep. So it was really a mix of issues that everyone experiences. It wasn't like somebody is hooked up to a machine because they have sleep apnea, or they're grinding their teeth and have pain, and these other kinds of things that really can cause sleep issues. So the thing that I feel is most relatable about the show is we've all been there. We've all had trouble falling asleep due to stress. We've all stayed up late working or doing something when we probably should have been in bed. And these are real challenges that people face that can impact the quality of their sleep.
And Dr. Robinson, is that something, with sleeping with friends and with what Vanessa is saying, is that something that you see clinically, that most people have some kind of, even if it's not a medical problem, most people have some kind of bad habits relating to sleep?
Oh, all the time. I think it's first of all, Vanessa, I think it's great that you guys are bringing such positive awareness to sleep in general. I mean, the fact that you know the benefits of it, like you're ahead of most of the population. We talk to people all the time, and like they're doing all these experiments, and they're really figuring out like sleep. There's nothing that sleep doesn't affect. So I would say, you just kind of bringing this to more of to the forefront and make it a more kind of aware of people is fantastic. So I congratulations. That's why I had to be a part of this, because Kyle's like, we're talking about sleep. I'm like, I have to be on this. But yeah, so in our clinic, we see a ton of patients who come in, and whether they can't sleep because they think it's insomnia, or whether it's a medical condition, like you said, like sleep apnea, or if they just need some sleep hygiene practice, we have our experts here in the clinic who kind of help people with their specific problems. So to your point, Kyle, I think there's just, we see it all the time that everybody has a unique problem, and we want to classify people, but everybody has kind of a unique problem. And I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing this show and seeing like what they found. So Vanessa, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Oh, please do.
Awesome. So like, how are you guys measuring the sleep quality? Like what type of things are you doing to measure the sleep quality?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think a lot of people think that you need to sleep for a specific amount of time, for so many hours, and you can have a good night. But you can have a really crappy sleep if you sleep for 7 hours and it's very disrupted and very light sleep. So I fully nerded out with our scoring system on this show. So we actually have this really cool EEG that's a very portable EEG, wireless, and it connects to an app via Bluetooth that all of the contestants slept with. And we use some data points from that. So the EEG calculates a restlessness score just based on how much the contestants are moving and tossing and turning. So we took that into consideration. We had a look at their percentage of deep sleep relative to what was average for their age group, because we really wanted them to like be restful and feel restored when they woke up. So we took that into account. We looked at how long it took them to fall asleep. So 15 minutes was our magic number. Like you got the most points if you fell asleep in 15 minutes, and then too short or too long can indicate that you're exhausted or that you're going to have a bad night's sleep. And the final thing was we had a bunch of behavioral tests that we did in the morning, which are, they were more simple, but they did a reaction time test, a memory test, and a mood test. So there were these 4 areas like restlessness, deep sleep, time to fall asleep, and wake up tests. And the 4 of those things all went into calculating their sleep score, which was out of 100. So that's where the competition aspect of it came in. I watched a lot of reality shows that had scoring elements in them, and it was kind of funny because I was looking to them for inspiration, and they were all terrible. It was all like one person just picking a number out of 5 or something, So I don't think that level of detail like can't come across in the show. It's like pretty limited to what you can communicate in 30 minutes. Like we have 30 minutes, which includes 2 nights, 2 days, sitting down with a therapist, like all this stuff. So it's pretty tight. There's a lot packed in there. But you do see the sleep score come up, and we have some other sleep stats on screen as well. But we did do everything. I've got like 20 spreadsheets that are pretty crazy with all this information.
Awesome. I have to commend you guys, because this is like official. Like the stuff that you were describing is like, man, I want to like start sending my patients to you for a sleep test, because the sleep labs that I work with here locally, we don't get half of that stuff, and we're supposed to help this patient. So I mean, you guys are doing it right. So I commend you on that.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I will say the companies that we worked with, some of the products in the show really helped us out. So the EEG that we used was from this company called Neuroverse, and they're making these like really awesome portable EEGs, and they gave us a lot of data. And we spoke to a bunch of other companies, including Fitbit, on how they calculate their sleep score. So that kind of gave us some insight into the things that we should do. But I feel like science reality TV doesn't exist because no one wanted to put the effort in before now.
Sure.
But you did it.
I did it. And I mean, YouTube Originals was so supportive of this as an experiment, you know, like I think that for me, having released content on YouTube for a couple of years, it shows that there are smart audiences out there for content. Like I think with a lot of reality shows that you see, people think they're stupid, but often it's because the shows assume that the audiences are stupid, you know, and they're like feeding you the same information over and over again and showing you the same clips and going over the same storyline. And it's fun, but I think that it is a really good format for learning because you can follow someone in their journey of what they're doing, and you can kind of see the ups and downs and see what they're doing. So yeah, I feel like we should be making more reality shows that are about science and technology.
Well, I love, you know, your channel, BrainCraft, is I think a testament to that, exactly what you're saying. There is a smart audience out there, and if people like you are giving them content that, you know, appeals to them, they're going to watch, you know, and so kudos to you for building. I mean, 500,000 subscribers, 30 million plus views. Like, I mean, you know, you done good.
Thank you.
So I got to ask you, and this both, and I say this lovingly, both of you are kind of sleep data nerds. So this is a very clinical question. What exactly is pillow meat?
I would define pillow meat as the middle of the pillow, like the bulky part of the pillow where you have the most fluff and stuff.
Okay.
That sounds right to me as well.
All right. So you have both just defined this as a medical term.
Yeah, it's like straight out of the AMA handbook. That definitely.
So, oh, I'm sorry,
Kyle. I don't want to take away from your questions, but I was going to say, can we get some high level sort of surface secrets from what you guys were finding with the technology and stuff? And man, I can't wait to see all this stuff come to life, because I mean, I'm going to be calling Kyle like, hey, I need Vanessa's number to start incorporating technology into my sleep clinic, because it sounds like you guys are really making some good progress on some technology stuff as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think what we did find about the technology may not be surprising to you as a clinician, but it was surprising to me as an everyday person, like experimenting with all of this stuff. And part of it was that people rely on sleep aids and sleep technology when they could just be having better behaviors and habits and things. So for example, we had blue blocking glasses, like the orange tinted glasses that filter out the blue light from your phones and screens and stuff like that. And what happened when we gave them to the contestants was they just spent like 10 times more time on their phone, and they were using their phone in bed, and they were like, but I have these glasses on, it's fine. And it's like, well, you're still not sleeping because you're just spending more time on your phone. It doesn't matter if you're filtering out the blue light or not. And there was another situation where we had weighted blankets for the contestants, and one of the contestants had an amazing night with a weighted blanket, and then she went in and thought, well, I had such a good sleep, I'm going to choose a higher weight. So she got a really heavy weighted blanket for a subsequent night, and it didn't have the same effects. So it's kind of interesting how sometimes we sabotage our sleep when we become obsessed with optimizing it with technology. Like that was one of the biggest things that came out of it for me. And sometimes like we just need to trust our bodies. Like sleep's a natural process that we've all done. Some of us are pretty good at it. And I think that we shouldn't be obsessed with using lots of technology actually.
Yeah, no, and that's what we find all the time. I mean, I think you said it right. Our bodies want to sleep. We are on a circadian rhythm that we all have kind of these cycles that we get into that our bodies want to sleep. We as human beings just do so much to disrupt it. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. So I would agree.
It's funny that It's funny that you say that, Dr. Robinson, because there was a quote that I actually wanted to point out to Vanessa that I thought was awesome. One of the judges had said something about, we spend a third of our life sleeping, and you said, but yet somehow so many of us are so bad at it, which
Yeah.
I thought is so like key. I mean, we spend so much time sleeping, but so many people have problems sleeping. I
It's
Yeah.
just wanted to
true.
point that
I
out.
think, yeah, no, it's definitely true. I think though, outside of medical problems, a lot of them come from people not prioritizing sleep, people having caffeine too late at night, eating and drinking too late, and other things like shift work and medications that can interfere with sleep. Like I think a lot of it is lifestyle based, is something that I have taken out of the show, outside of people who do have medical conditions.
So with sleeping with friends, and I think this is going to get such a huge response. As I said, I loved it. I loved it. And it's premiering today on the BrainCraft channel. Uh, could there be a sequel? Could there be a follow-up to this?
I mean,
You
I
think?
would love that. One thing you'll see is that this show is only 3 episodes,
Hmm.
so it's a special. I would love to do a second season where we could go into more detail, but for that, we'll need everyone to watch
Absolutely.
it.
And they can do so right on your channel, beginning right now. Whenever you're watching this, it's up now on the BrainCraft channel. Vanessa, thank you so much. It is really a pleasure to speak with you. I love what you do all together. You bring a very special, higher level sort of vibe, if you will, to YouTube, and I think it's so awesome. The content that you're putting out is just incredible. And Sleeping with Friends is awesome, so I know everybody's going to watch it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Thank you. And Dr. Robinson, thank you. We'll have your links up as well. Your questions were questions that I wouldn't have thought of. So I'm so glad to have had you sit in on the conversation.
Thanks, Kyle, and thanks, Vanessa. It was so nice to meet you.
You too.